Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third session in Tea with ATA. Let me welcome Professor Zaich. Hi, Professor Zaich.
Hi, Dr. Ahmed. Thank you again for having me be a part of the Tea with ATA. Good to see you as always, and hopefully we can bring some good advice to people today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Let me read today's question. Hello, ATA. I am an interior designer with a stable paycheck. However, I am unhappy because I want to start my own business. I began to build my client list. But when is the right time to live my dream and start my own business? I am procrastinating on starting my own business. So please advise me, Peter. So let me give you the mic.
Well, I think that's an excellent question, and it's a very hard question to answer. But the answer that I would give you is that there is never a good time to start your own business. It's always a difficult thing to do. But if you wait until you think that it's the perfect time, it will never happen. So you need to step forward. You need to make that leap of faith and start the business somehow, some way, small time, big time, however you're going to do it. But if you sit around and wait for the perfect time, it will never happen.
Thank you so much for this wonderful perspective, because you are right. A lot of entrepreneurs will agree with you about this point, that it always begin with the first step. It always begin with the idea, with making this transition without having the big fear that stops them. So I think you are highlighting a great point that all the entrepreneurs will agree with you about, that there is no right time. You're right.
And I think we need to remember that all of us from time to time have had what we think is a great idea, something that we think would be wonderful. 99% of us never do anything more with it than have the idea. And then we see somebody who does it and they make $1 million with it, and we sit back and go, well, I thought of that. We could have done that. Well, if you never do it, it's never going to happen. So you have to do it. It's going to hurt. It's going to be hard. It's going to take time. But there's no right time. You just have to do it.
I totally agree with you. That's why I think financial preparedness is really important, like being prepared financially for the needs and for this phase is really important, so you can really be enjoying the journey of the entrepreneurial journey, and not just having this transition and thinking, how can I be stable financially? And I feel that now I lost the paycheck that was stable. So I think being prepared financially is really important. Having sufficient savings and financial resources that can help you to go through the initial stages of the entrepreneurial journey solid is very important. How do you see that, Professor Zaich?
I think that's very true. I think the thing that people worry about the most in starting a business, and it sounds like Peter is having this same thing. He wants to start the business, but he wants to go into it full time. When you do that, it means you give up the steady paycheck that you have right now. And that's a very scary thing. And I think that stops most people from starting their own business. One thought here is, can you start it small time? Can you start it part time? Can you have a few clients and work with them? Do this as something outside of your normal job and see if it's going to work. See if it's going to be sustainable. See if it's going to bring in some resources. Once you know it's going to do that, you can expand it. My suggestion to most people is, if it's at all possible, to start it on a small scale, somehow maintain your job until you're comfortable that this is going to work or that it has a chance to work. Because if you get into it and you're a couple months in and you find out, boy, I'm not bringing in any money, I can't survive like this, well, you're going to end the business and you're going to go back looking for a job with somebody else. So the financial piece is the one that is the most worrisome to people.
Great point, because it will help Peter to have the balance, and this will help him to work on his own business, but at the same time, at at the right time, not only losing the paycheck which was steady, but it was making the balance and succeeding until he have the pool of clients that can help him to make the decision of transition to have a full time on their own business. I totally agree with you. So the industry experience is also playing a major part here. Like, the person, is he really capable with the knowledge and skills to compete? Because as you know, like when you are employee in an organization, you are just a piece of the puzzle. Like the big puzzle, you are just a piece of. But if you are really running the business, you are gonna do a lot of things. So are you ready for this transition with skills and competencies? Let me know what's your advice for Peter regarding this point, Professor Rich.
Well, I think that's a great point. There's a big difference between working on a project, and in this case, somebody who's an interior design engineer. There's a big difference between working on a project and working on a project on your own business, because now you have to be responsible for everything that goes on in the business. When you're working with that other company, they're worried about hiring people and getting supplies and paychecks and doing all of the pieces with the legal things that you have to do, the regulations that have to be followed, all the pieces that go along with paying somebody. What are you going to do with taxes and all those kinds of things? Those are all pieces of the puzzle that a lot of people don't consider. You may be great at that project, but if you don't know how to run the business, it's going to fail because of that. It's got nothing to do with your skills as a interior design engineer. Those may be tremendous, but you need business skills to make it work as well.
Great point. That will take us to the business plan and its importance. That's why it's really important for any entrepreneur to know how to write a business plan, or even to have a business plan by connecting with mentors from the industry, and having this roadmap to guide them through the business operations, because this will help to identify the opportunities and also to overcome the challenges as well. So let me get your advice here. If the person is coming from an engineer background, so they might not be able to write a business plan. So how can they really figure out this without wasting a lot of time to do like an MBA or a DBA and stuff like that? They would like to learn while they are moving. What's your advice here?
Well, I think you make a great point about a business plan. A business plan, if you put it together properly, is going to at least pose a lot of questions to you that you may not have thought of. If you don't have to have an MBA to do a business plan. There are plenty of templates online that you can follow. A business plan is basically answering a set of questions. It's answering the piece about the finances. It's answering the piece about how you're going to have other employees, how you're going to do marketing, how you're going to do the salaries, the payroll, the space, how you're going to pay for that. The business plan outlines all of those questions. And having that as your beginning piece allows you to go through and actually look at all the other factors that are being taken care of for you while you're now working for another company. Once you have that business plan, now at least you can go into something and feel that there won't be as many surprises. There's always going to be something that comes up that you didn't expect or anticipate, but there won't be as many of them. You will have put this plan together. That's the key here. And again, while you say you have some clients and a client list, are those clients willing to work with you outside of that business? Or are they very friendly to you while you work for the company that you do, but they're not sure they want to do something on their own? Are you allowed legally to take those clients? Those are pieces of the puzzle that the business plan will help you answer. Do you have enough clients to sustain you? Again, these are the questions that come up in writing a business plan. It takes time, It slows you down from you wanting to jump in with both feet into this new business, but it's the right way to do it because it's going to set you up with a foundation that you can work from. As a design engineer, you know very well the importance of having a foundation. If you don't have the foundation to hold up the business, just like the foundation to hold up the building, it's all going to crumble down on you. And so this is the key that you want to have. Your business plan helps you build the foundation so that the business can be successful.
Thank you for highlighting this wonderful point because it will take me to the next point, which is the risk tolerance, like how you are gonna navigate with the challenges and setbacks. And are you really capable of moving forward and sustaining the business? Or you are just gonna give up? And the business plan is really playing a major part in the foundation because, as you just mentioned, it answers a lot of questions that will help you to sustain the business operation and to be ready for uncertainty and ambiguity as well. So let me know from your experience how the person can have this balance, the emotional balance, when they feel there is a risk. There is something that I didn't expect coming to me now as an entrepreneur. And a lot of people will have these two internal voices. One is saying, I hope I didn't make this decision. I should go back to be an employee. The other sound will say, no, you can do it. You overcome a lot of challenges before and you can do this now. Let me know from your experience, how can we adjust and make the balance in this dilemma? Thank you.
Well, I think let's go back to the initial question. The initial question is about whether you should start your own business or you should just continue being an employee where you're at. That's a risk. If you're going to start your own business, that's a risk. If you're not prepared to take the risk, you're not prepared to write your own business. That's the first thing. But the flip side of that is if there's never any risk taken, there's never any gain that's going to be had either. That's what you need to assess whether you're going to start your own business. How risk averse are you? If you're very risk averse, you're probably not going to start the business. You have to be willing to have the faith to take that leap and jump in and do this. But you need to know, what can you lose? If you're going to lose everything, maybe you don't want to take the risk. But if you don't try, you'll never know. Risk is a very difficult thing, and you need to know inside yourself, what is your tolerance for risk? Which really comes down to, what is your tolerance for loss? What can you afford to lose before you have to close up everything and go back and be an employee for somebody else?
Great point, because it gives me this balance of calculated risk. Like, you really know exactly how you are going to enter the game, how you are going to enter the game of the entrepreneurial journey. So this will take me to the last point. In my opinion, I think being connected with a great mentors, and not only great mentors, but also professional people from industry. This supportive network will allow you as entrepreneur to keep moving, because you will avoid making the mistakes that other people made. And also, you are gonna motivate and fuel your energy to keep going, because now you are not alone. You have a supportive network around you. So I would like to get your perspective about this point as well.
I think a strong support network is a key to success in starting your own business. If you don't have the support network, everything falls on you. You don't have anybody to talk to. You don't have anybody to get advice from. You don't have anybody whose shoulder to cry on if you need to, or to celebrate the good things when they happen. A support network is something in human nature that we all need. And if you're going to start your own business, having some people around you who are going to support you, not just say yes to you, but support you by helping you think through the ideas, think through the issues that you're going to run into, help you through the times when there's going to be a failure. And there will be failures. Everybody fails at something at some point. Help you to learn from that. Those are the things that are going to make this possible for you to do. Because if you have that support network, you have somebody, you have a group of people that you can work with that are going to help you through the tough times and celebrate the good times with you. That's a key to being successful. Every successful entrepreneur has had a support network somewhere of something. And it doesn't necessarily mean supporting you with money. It means supporting you emotionally as well, to be there to help you. Those are keys to being successful.
True. I totally agree with you, Professor Zeich. So let me summarize what we just talked about today. So we talked about being prepared financially and making sure that the client base is really sustainable and will allow the business to operate. And third point, we talked about the industry experience. If the entrepreneur is really having the skills and knowledge that is really needed in the market to help him to succeed. And we talked about the business plan, and we talked about the risk tolerance and how can the entrepreneur navigate the challenges and so on. And also we talked about the supportive network, like the importance of having a supportive network around an entrepreneur. Those were wonderful points that we discussed today. Would you like to add anything else before we close?
Well, I think the one last point that we should talk about is this concept of having passion and commitment. If you are not committed to doing this, if you don't have the passion to believe in this business, don't do it. Because opening your own business oftentimes means that now you're going to live, eat, breathe, everything this business 24 hours, 7 days a week. If you're not prepared to do that, you're not prepared to open your own business. The success won't be there. Everything falls on you when you open your own business. If you have the commitment for it, that's not a problem. If you have the passion for it and you believe in it, that's not a problem. But if you're more worried about, gee, am I going to be giving up my vacation time? Or I won't be able to do this other social activity, or I won't be able to go out to these various restaurants for a while. If those are the biggest concerns for you, don't open your own business because you don't have the passion, you don't have the commitment to do it. But if you're willing to make those sacrifices, if you are passionate enough about this, you believe enough in yourself and the business idea, then go for it. Then it's the time to do it. But you have to answer that question. Are you willing to make the sacrifices necessary to be successful? Go back and look at any of the successful entrepreneurs. Mark Cuban will talk about the things that he did when he began his business. He lived out of basically the back of his car for a while. He talks about how he learned how to go to grocery stores and restaurants at the end of the day when they were marking down different things so that he could get food cheaper because he couldn't afford to do anything otherwise. He was making the commitment to making his idea come to reality. And that's what you have to do. So if you have the passion, if you have the commitment, you'll be successful. If you don't open your own business.
Great point. Thank you so much, Professor Zeich, and we wish you, Peter, all the best in your entrepreneurial journey. And we will see you all next week. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Zeich.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Very good seeing you again.